Happy Thursday, everybody. Thank God the weekend's almost here, day and a half, and then we are there. Uh, this Saturday in college football, I don't know. There's some good matchups, but kind of seems like maybe a little bit of a down weekend. Um, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like there's very many top matchups. There's some good games, though. I mean, I'll be watching all day, but doesn't really seem to be too many of those marquee matchups. Um, Hope you're having a good day. We finally got some rain here in Southeast Texas after a summer of hardly any rain, drought. Finally getting some rain, thank God. My yard's looking like crap. Before we get started, get to some news we got. Hit that little subscribe button so you don't miss anything. Let's get to it. Mel Tucker up there in East Lansing. A lot of crazy things happening. Michigan State suspended him without pay too. Ooh. On Sunday, amid claims he sexually harassed Brandy Tracy, who's a sexual assault awareness speaker last year. And I think I read the reason she became that is because she was a victim of sexual assault herself, and that's how she got into all this awareness and speaking on it and all that. Mel Tucker denied the claims, saying he and Tracy developed an intimate adult relationship. And her claims are completely false. She says he sent her gifts, and get this, I don't know any nice way of saying it in case there's kids watching. So he was on the phone doing stuff to himself, and he says she didn't hang up or anything, and she kept talking to him, knowing he was doing that. It's probably one of those he said, she said things. Who knows? He said everything. Mel Tucker says everything that happened between them was mutual. She was hired by Tucker to speak to the team in August 2021, like I said, about sexual assault awareness. She even went to the spring game the next year in 2022. So stay tuned. Some weird, looks like it may be unfortunate stuff that happening up there in East Lansing. NCAA, they denied immediate eligibility for North Carolina receiver Tez Walker. Coach Mack Brown and athletic director Bubba Cunningham both slammed the decision last week. The NCAA says they were violent, possibly criminal threats. Coming from North Carolina, I don't know. Coming from North Carolina fans, I don't know where those are coming from. But that's what the NCAA is saying. I tend to not give the NCAA credit anymore. They seem like a worthless organization to me. Maybe they're true, but in this day and age of the NCAA, I always look at everything first because, like I said, they've kind of discredited themselves the last several years. And while they were at it, the NCAA also denied Iowa defensive tackle Noah Shannon's appeal of his year-long suspension for gambling on Hawkeye sporting events. I read somewhere he said, well, I understand. So, yeah, they did that to him, too. Ohio State, looks like they settled on a quarterback. Kyle McCord, he's going to be the starting quarterback for the season. Did you watch the Oklahoma SMU game? It's kind of close into the fourth quarter. Oklahoma's OC, Jeff Lebby, which I did not know this, his father-in-law is Art Briles. Remember Art Briles from Baylor and whole sexual assault scandal they had going there? Was let go. He was on the field in Sooner gear Saturday after the SMU game, I guess celebrating with his son-in-law and all that. Sooner fans were pissed about it. They said, why is this guy on the field? Jeff Lebby apologized for it. And Coach Venerables and AD Joe Castiglione, I think he says his name, Castiglione, they said they were caught off guard with him being on the field. So a little drama up there in Norman. UConn quarterback Joe Fagnano out for season, shoulder. Man, that sucks. Early in the season, you're out for the season. That sucks. Hey, Alabama walk-on wide receiver Antonio Ross. Antonio Ross arrested for sexual assault. What the hell's going on in the news this week? A lot of stories, fortunately, about sexual assault. I got a question for y'all. Washington State and Oregon State looking for a home. Um, Playing good football. Washington State just beat Wisconsin. Oregon State's ranked. Um, why doesn't anybody want them? Why are they taking Cal and Stanford? Just a question. Throwing it out there. Why are they taking some of these teams? And Oregon State and Washington State are a lot better than them. Just a question for you to think about today while you're sitting there and not wanting to work. All right, so we'll go review a few things that happened over this last week. Thursday, in case any of you watched it, Louisville beat Murray State 56-0. Jahar Jordan for Louisville, 135 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. One of them was a 72-yard run. Nice. 690 total yards for Louisville. Indiana beat Indiana State 41-7. Indiana's Jalen Lucas, he had 2 rushing touchdowns in that game. Friday, I watched high school football, but I also had to have this game on because it just seemed intriguing, and it was. Kansas beat Illinois 34-23. Jayhawks led 28-7 at the half. Quarterback Jalen Davies was 277 yards, 2 touchdowns. Devin Neal, 120 rushing yards and a touchdown. Luke Altemeyer for the Illini, 19 for 28, 202 yards, touchdown. Did throw 2 picks. He also rushed for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns, so not bad. Illinois, he was sacked 6 times by the Kansas defense. Kansas, 539 total yards. All right, so Saturday I watched, I started watching Notre Dame, NC State. Looked like it might be a pretty good game. Then a weather delay happened. The weather delay lasted a couple hours. I was like, well, I'm not going to stay here for a couple hours. I'm going to see what else is on. But the quarter and a half that I watched? Very defensive game. Those defenses were playing great. So I switched over to Utah and Baylor. 20-13, Utah wins that one. Baylor's defense, boy, they played great through 3 quarters. It looks like they just wore out in the fourth. Baylor had them down 13-6 until the fourth quarter, when Utah outscored them 14-0. 2 things stood out: mediocre quarterback play and bad play calling for Baylor. Bears were winning 13-6 in the fourth. Now you're playing I believe Utah that last Saturday was ranked number 12. You're playing the number 12 team. You know they're not going to go down without a fight. But in the fourth quarter, Baylor is calling run play after run play, trying to drain the clock. And there was how many minutes left? 11 minutes left, and they were just running the ball. It looked like Bill O'Brien came over there and started coaching Baylor. I was like, what the hell are y'all doing? You realize this is the number 12 team in the country. You see what they can do, and you're going to sit there and run the ball trying to run out the clock? Stupid. Didn't try to get... I don't know. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. I don't know what Iran did. I don't know if he's calling the plays or somebody else is calling the plays, but yeah, it's just like they were trying to run out the clock with 11 minutes left. Of course, Utah's run defense stuffs them. Offense goes to work. Utah rushed for 2 touchdowns in the last 2 minutes of that game to win that game. So, they had number 12 team in the crosshairs, and Baylor coaches blew it. Utah, 377 total yards. Baylor, 339 in that one. Then I knew this was going to be a really good game, and it turned out it was. Ole Miss beating Tulane 37-20. I actually thought Tulane would win, and they damn near did till the end of the game. They led by 7 at halftime. Second half, Rebels got into gear, outscored Tulane, though, 27-3. Jackson Dart for the Rebels, 17 for 27, 267 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tulane had great defense. Tulane defense sacked Dart 4 times in that game and had 1 interception. Held the Rebels rushing game to only 89 yards, so that's pretty good. Tulane's Kai Horton playing for the injured Pratt, 15 for 37, 231 yards, touchdown and interception, not too bad. Hughes, 92 rushing yards and a touchdown. Tulane was way better on third down. Ole Miss only converted 1, so I want to say they're like 1 for 10, something crazy like that. But turnovers killed Tulane. 2 fumbles and an interception. If I remember right, the last one was a pick 6. Right? No, that was the Oregon Texas Tech game. But anyway, yeah, Ole Miss came back and won, which I really thought Tulane was going to win that game, as good as the team they are. But I mean, they took Ole Miss to the, down to the wire. Tulane's still a good team. They're going to have a great season. Would not be surprised if they were back into a New Year's Day Bowl or something like that. So then I watched that evening Texas and Bama. I thought Bama would win this game. Texas wins by 10, 34-24. Bama fans, Milroe is not your quarterback. I don't know what y'all are going to do. The guy can make great long passes. We saw that. Everything else is just, I don't know. I don't know what y'all are going to do. Offense, some of the offense things going on with the offensive line is questionable. But like I said, Milroe did make a few good plays. The majority of them were long passes. Texas, they dominated both sides of the ball in this one. This wasn't the Bama team we're used to seeing. It's crazy. UT Ewers, 24 for 38, 349 yards, 3 touchdowns. Donnie Mitchell, 78 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Milroe had decent numbers, 14 for 27, 255 yards, 2 touchdowns. A lot of quarterbacks would kill for those numbers, but I don't know. Did throw 2 interceptions, and Texas defense sacked him 5 times. Texas, 454 total yards. Bama, 362 total yards in that one. Bama gets their first loss of the season. Texas gets a damn good win. I don't like Texas, but yeah, damn good win. All right, so then I switched over to Rice and Houston. Right down the road, they call it the Bayou Bucket Battle because they have a trophy called the Bayou Bucket. Great game. Rice wins double overtime, 43-41. They actually led 28-7 at the halftime. Scoreless in the third quarter. U of H scored 21 and they answered in the fourth to bring it to overtime. I was like, oh, crap. U of H quarterback, okay, get this. This is what brought it to overtime. Donovan Smith, U of H quarterback, rushes it for 1 yard, in case you didn't see it. Rushes it for 1 yard out. Looked like he crossed the plane. They weren't sure. So they reviewed it. So while they're reviewing it, they show from different angles, and only one angle was really good. And what it was, he went around to the right side, got close to the line, and from that angle, you saw his knee down, his left hand down, both of these behind the goal line. The ball's on this side, way back here, and they call it a touchdown. Probably some of the dumbest officiating I've seen. Really, you could really say the last few years we've seen some of the dumbest officiating, not only in college football, but in all sports. Officiating is just getting dumbed down. And yeah, that shouldn't have gone into overtime. It did. Rice won anyway, but still, I was like, who in the hell is making these decisions and saying that is a touchdown when the ball is clearly back here, way away from the goal line, and you got a knee and a hand down in front of the goal line? I don't know. I really don't know. But like we can, in every aspect of American life, you got a lot of dumb people doing important jobs. Dumb teachers, dumb doctors, dumb policemen, dumb firemen, dumb lawyers. Unfortunately, that's the way our country is. And officiating is in it now. So anyway, yeah, Rice wins that thing in overtime. Houston failed to make the 2-point conversion that they're required to do. So Rice ended up winning. They were happy about it. Very, very happy about it. All right, so some other interesting things I saw or I thought were interesting on Saturday. Wake Forest beating Vanderbilt 36-20. I knew that would probably be a good game. It looks like it was. I was watching other stuff. James Madison beating Virginia and Charlottesville by 1 point. That's pretty good. Boston College, boy, y'all are, I don't know what to think about you. Lost to Northern Illinois, played Northern Illinois, $1 million to come beat you. And you almost lost to Holy Cross. But you won 31-28. Purdue going to Blacksburg, winning at Virginia Tech, beating them in Blacksburg 24-17. Colorado burying Nebraska 36-14. I really thought Nebraska should have won that Minnesota game, but all the turnovers killed them. Turnovers killed them in this game too. And I'm going to say, Matt Rule, you probably needed another quarterback. You and Alabama are in the same boat. Better quarterback, you all have some better play. I thought Troy's always been a good team. I thought they'd give Kansas State a better game, but lost 42-13. Central Michigan barely beat New Hampshire, 45-42. Clemson started off slow against Charleston Southern, but slowly gained momentum, won 66-17. Kentucky, they had a close game with Eastern Kentucky, 28-17. Freaking A&M, man. Remember I said I had one toe left on Jimbo train? I've jumped. I'm done. Get rid of him. Lose to Miami 48-33, proving Jimbo is an overpaid coach. Syracuse beat Western Michigan by 41. I thought Western Michigan would play better. Iowa beat Iowa State 20-13, pretty close. No TD passes for Cade McNamara. Sebastian Castro had a 30-yard pick six. And remember, Kirk Ferentz' son, he had a contract clause. You got to score 25 points a game. Didn't, but you did beat your in-state rival, so maybe that saves them on that one. Michigan beat UNLV 35-7. J.J. McCarthy 22 for 25, 278 yards, 2 touchdowns. Nice day for him. Blake Corum had 80 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. Really good day for him. Roman Wilson 89 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. Good day for him. Michigan defense 5 sacks, 1 interception in that game. Northwestern wins, beat UTEP 38-7. Ben Bryant, quarterback for Northwestern, 70-yard TD pass. No, threw a TD pass and ran for a TD pass. I'm sorry. So 2 touchdowns under his belt. UTSA beat Texas State 20-13. That shows you Texas State has improved because that game in the last few years has been the score's been a lot wider than that. So Arkansas beat Kent State 28-6. It was 10-10 game at the half, kind of close. KJ Jefferson, 2 touchdown passes. Wyoming is 2-0 after beating Portland State 31-17. Wyoming quarterback Andrew Presley, 11 for 16, 201 yards, 3 touchdowns. Wide receiver Aria Asante, 2 touchdown catches, 4 sacks for the Wyoming defense. They go to Austin this weekend to play Texas. Wouldn't that be something that came out? Texas was still on that Alabama high, and Wyoming came in there, snuck and got one. You never know. Those things happen. Keep an eye on that. Let's see. Washington beat Tulsa 43-10. Penix Jr. for Washington, 28 for 38, 409 yards, 3 touchdowns. 2 receivers had over 100 yards receiving and touchdown catches for Washington. Tennessee beat Austin Peay 30-13. Tennessee started off kind of sluggish, but they started coming around. South Alabama beat Southeast Louisiana 35-17. LaDamian Webb, 2 rushing touchdowns for South Alabama. It took 2 overtimes, and we knew it probably would, for North Carolina to beat Appalachian State. Appalachian State just does that to big-time teams. I don't know what the deal is. Maybe a mental thing now. Who knows? Anyway, North Carolina wins 40-34. I knew that would be a tough game, but hey. Duke beats Lafayette 42-7. Duke looking good this year. Jordan Watts, 112 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns for Duke. OU, we talked about that after the game on the field. They beat SMU 28-11. This game was very close until the fourth quarter. Fordham beat Buffalo. Look at there, little Fordham going to Buffalo and beating them 40-37. Liberty beat New Mexico State 33-17. People are trying to shut down New Mexico State's dream of back-to-back bowl years. Why y'all want to do that to Mexico State? They're nice. Ohio Bobcats beat Florida Atlantic 17-10. You know, Tom Herman is pissed off. Cincinnati beat Pittsburgh 27-21. Cincinnati's Emory Jones, 125 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Pitts, quarterback Jerkovic, 3 touchdown passes. Missouri beat Middle Tennessee 23-19. Brady Cook from Missouri, 204 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. He also ran for a touchdown. Oregon barely beat, I saw the ending of this game, the last quarter and a half. Oregon barely beat Texas Tech. I mean, Texas Tech was all over them. And that quarter and a half I saw, I was like, wow. Took a pick six at the end to finally seal the deal, but Oregon gets out of there with a win. I told y'all last week, Jones AT&T Stadium, I think that's still what they call it out there in Lubbock. That's a tough place to play. People have seen that. Central Florida beat Boise in Boise, 18-16. Coastal Carolina beat Jacksonville State, 30-16. Maryland beat Charlotte, 38-20. 49ers actually led 14-9 at halftime until Maryland came back. Rutgers won. Minnesota won. Washington State beat Wisconsin, 31-22. Washington State led 24-9 at halftime. Cameron Ward, 20 for 32, 212 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. He was sacked 4 times by the Wisconsin defense. He led rushing for the team with 43 yards. Wow. Florida, South Carolina, LSU, they all bounced back. Of course, they're inferior opponents they played. Mississippi State beat Arizona 31-24 in overtime. Will Rogers was 13 for 17, 162 yards, 3 touchdowns. Lee Dedrick Griffin, 5 catches, 83 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jordan De La Laura for Arizona, 32 for 46, 342 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Did run for a touchdown, but he also threw 4 interceptions in that one. Air Force, they only beat Sam Houston by 10 points. I haven't watched either team this year. Sam Houston's always been good, always made the FCS playoffs, won a championship. Air Force always seems to be pretty stout, good team. So I don't know if it's just two good teams getting after it, or if those both teams aren't that good. Like I said, I haven't watched either one of them this year. Try to catch one of their games here coming up. Oregon State beat UC Davis 55-7 and saying, why isn't anybody want us in their conference? Oklahoma State beat Arizona State 27-15. Auburn beat Cal by only 4 points. USC beat Stanford by 46. USC led 49-3 at halftime. I guess they called the dogs off. Hawaii beat Albany 31-20. Looked like a great game, but hardly anyone saw it because Hawaii and their pay to watch this crap. This week, nothing really interesting tonight. Friday, Army versus UTSA, both 1-1. Utah State versus Air Force. Hey, that might be a good Mountain West matchup to watch on Friday. Saturday, 11 a.m. SEC. Kansas State at Missouri. That could be an interesting game. Missouri playing a lot better. On Fox, Penn State versus Illinois. Was it last year? That game went into like 7 or 8 overtimes or something like that. You know, when it gets that many overtimes, I just go watch something else because it's just, I don't know. They need to do something about that. It just lose interest. It's like somebody win already so I can watch something else. I mean, it really does. 11 a.m. Big Ten Network. Georgia Southern, 2-0, heads to Wisconsin. Georgia Southern's a good team. You never know. 11 a.m. on ESPN, LSU at Mississippi State. We'll see what LSU learned from that Florida State game. They beat Grambling last week, 70 to something, I think. 1 p.m., Pac-12 Network, 2-0. Weber State going to 2-0, Utah. Huh? Utah team that didn't look too good against Baylor, who's not a good team. Wouldn't that be something if little Weber State went in there and stuck out there with a win? It's college football. Anything can happen. We've seen it over the years. What else we got? Hey, 2:30, ACC Network. Battle of the Brains. Northwestern at Duke. 2:30 ESPN. Interesting one. Minnesota at North Carolina. I really wouldn't know who to pick in that game. Maybe edge a little bit towards North Carolina because Drake May, but 2:30 FS1, 2-1 San Diego State going to 2-0 Oregon State. That might be a good one. 2:30 CBS, South Carolina at Georgia. I'd be more interested in this game if South Carolina had beat North Carolina, but they didn't. Who knows? Might still be a good game. And Georgia has kind of started off slow a couple times this year, so. 2:30 ESPN2. In-state battle. Oklahoma and Tulsa. We've seen Oklahoma isn't the old Oklahoma like we used to see. Does Tulsa do anything special? Who knows? 2:30 ABC. Alabama at South Florida. Bulls aren't bad. Bama isn't Bama, so who knows what's going to happen there. 3 p.m. Fox, Western Kentucky, who loves to air it out, at Ohio State. Both are 2-0. 4 p.m. I guess that's Peacock. PEAC, I guess Peacock. 2-0 Washington at 2-0 Michigan State. Rematch from last year. Man, that was a good game last year in Seattle. Michigan State hung around to about the third quarter, and then Washington finally just opened it up. And they got some turmoil going on there in East Lansing. So will that be inspiring? Will that be weighing on their minds? And they get beat down. We'll see. 5 p.m. ESPN Plus, 2-0 Georgia State versus 1-1 Charlotte. Remember, Charlotte gave Maryland a hell of a game last week. 5:30 ESPN Plus, 2-0 Villanova versus 2-0 Central Florida. 6 p.m. ESPN Plus, 1-1 South Alabama, which is a good team, versus 2-0 Oklahoma State. 6 p.m. FS1. I am mentioning Northern Illinois and Nebraska. Why am I mentioning that game? Northern Illinois could come out of this game with winning over another big-time school. Beat Boston College, got paid for it. I wonder how much Nebraska's paying them to play. I don't know. But Nebraska, like we've seen these last few weeks, you don't know what you're going to get or how long it's going to last. So, yeah, Northern Illinois, they might go in there and get themselves a win. We'll see. 6 p.m. Eastern, a good old classic one that always happens. Tennessee versus Florida. Usually a pretty good game. I guess we're going to see. We're going to see what Florida's made of. See what Tennessee made of. Might be pretty good. Who knows? I'll probably watch it. 6:30 ABC, the Backyard Brawl. Pitt versus West Virginia. Both are 1-1. Big-time rivalry game. Both of them will play inspired. Might be better than a lot of people think. 6:30 NBC, 2-0 Syracuse goes to 1-1 Purdue. Purdue riding high off that win over there in Blacksburg off of Virginia Tech. 6:30 ESPNU, 1-1 Akron. They go to Kentucky. Akron's not a bad team. 6:30, and we saw Kentucky, how they started off a little slow. 6:30 ESPN2. This one might be pretty good. 2-0 BYU at 2-0 Arkansas. That could be a pretty good game. One of them, I forget which one, when I was doing the schedules this summer, is either BYU or Arkansas. Maybe BYU had one of the toughest schedules to play. I think it was BYU, but hey, this might be a pretty good game. 6:30 SEC Network, a much improved Georgia Tech team going to Ole Miss. Georgia Tech is improved. Can they beat Ole Miss? Guess we'll find out. What else we got? 7 p.m. ACC, Florida Atlantic versus Clemson. Tom Herman could really, really use that win. Don't know if he's going to get it, but you never know. 7 p.m. Pac-12 Network. Hawaii, they're going to Oregon. Hawaii's playing better. We saw Oregon last week against Texas Tech have trouble. You never know. Hawaii might give themselves a win. 7 p.m. Fox, 1-1 TCU at 1-1 Houston. Seen a couple of Houston games this year, the one with Rice and the one UTSA before. I might have to pick TCU in that game. Houston, I don't know. Just not looking like Houston. 7 p.m. Longhorn Network, if you got it, which is probably not going to be around much longer. 2-0 Wyoming, going to 2-0 Texas. That might be something interesting there. Because you saw if you saw the Rice-Texas game, that was the second week, Rice played them good throughout the first half. Texas was kind of sleepwalking. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. And they could have a Alabama hangover, but we'll see. 7 p.m. Mountain West Network. If you got it, I used to have that network, and it had some good games on there. Don't have it anymore. New Mexico State versus New Mexico. Rivalry game, big-time rivalry game. And, New Mexico State, they want to get back to that second bowl game, so they're going to play their hearts out on that one. 9 p.m. ESPN. Colorado State and Colorado. Old Dion's going to play the Colorado State game for the first time. See what's going to happen. Colorado's probably going to win because his son is just on fire. And so who's the other guy, the 2A player? Is it Henry? Is that his name? That guy's incredible too. 9:30 FS1. 2-0 Fresno State. Going to 1-1 Arizona State. Keep an eye on that one. Late game on Pac-12 Network, if you got it. Another network that's probably not going to be around much longer. 1-2 UTEP versus 1-1 Arizona. If you just want to stay up late and have some beverages and watch college football late into the night. That is it. Thursday afternoon is almost here. Stay busy. The weekend will be here soon. And college football, like I said, there's a game tonight, but I forget who it is. It wasn't very interesting to me, so I didn't mention it. But we got the weekend coming up. Stay safe, have fun, and we will see you back next week.